Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 103 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again, I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben. BT, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Very tired. Big weekend, which we'll definitely be going into.
8 games of Blood Bowl in 4 days?
Yeah, although that feels like rookie hours compared to some of these like 24-hour tournaments. Or Coffee Bowl, where it's like
yeah.
5 games. Yeah.
11 games in 24 hours. We are doing this episode the weekend after our last awesome tournament, and quite frankly, 2 people there leading the day are our TO Extremes, our 3D printing correspondent Ian Triple Pow Triplo, and roster master, I guess we it was
like that.
Foreign correspondent, but roster master Miltonio Banderas, who has got me to correct the spelling of his name. How you guys doing?
Doing great, thanks, Ben. Bit tired, but yeah.
Yeah. I got a bit of the con crud the last 2 days. I've just been exceedingly phlegmy and just felt rubbish. I even had a little nap before we recorded tonight. Tiff was like, you just need to just sit down. Like, just go to sleep. I was like, I don't need sleep. Sleep is for the... And I was asleep. But it was it was all good. My voice is much better than normal for tournaments here. I mean, talking of voices... Ian, I assume your softly polite spoken TO voice is doing all right?
Just freak out anyone who was there at the weekend. This is your 15-minute warning to end the game.
Ben, you are already at lunch.
Wounds are still open, yeah.
Anyway, it's 1:03, and Ben, what are we talking about this week?
We are just going to be going straight into the wrap-up. South Coast Series and Sevens, South Coast Autumn 2022. Yeah. God, we have far too many series. And yeah, we're just going to be talking about that, how the games went, how the organization went, who won, who came home with some prizes, everything really. Good event.
Oh yeah. No, BT is right. We would normally talk about hobby. I think we're going to skip the majority of that, although we are going to be talking about some of Ben's games, and I think we do need to talk to you about the final in a second before we delve into the tournament. But then it's just going to be looking at SCA 11s for the Saturday and SCA 7s. So that was South Coast Autumn Saturday 11s and South Coast Autumn Sunday 7s. We didn't name these events, but we've kind of owned them. So we are going to take a very quick break. Then we'll be back to talk about Ben up to the league, because I wasn't there for his game. We need to refresh on that. And then we'll dive into the tournaments. Okay, BT. We normally do a big game roundup, but we're going to be talking about something like nearly 200 games of Blood Bowl. But spoiler alert, you did make it to the finals of our league. You made it to the quarterfinals. You made it to the top 4 after playing like half of your games. And then you battled all your way through to take on Byron with a mighty 1,1400 TV Underworld team.
Undefeated, yeah. He had a couple of draws, but
yeah, I lost 1-0 in overtime in my Black Hawks against him. Otherwise, it would have been the Battle of the Bens, which I was really shooting for. It would have been,
yeah. So first time I ever made it into playoffs, let alone final. But so it was a really tough game. Byron is an incredibly good coach, and if you're ever up against him in tournaments, watch out, because that guy knows his stuff. He was even pointing out things after the game to me, being like, oh yeah, you could have done this strategy. And I'll be like, oh, that did not even occur to that. Was even a thing you can do in the game. It was, I did lose. It was a 2-0 win to Byron. Very well-deserved 2-0 win. Like I say, he played very strategically. I did receive, and I got really greedy with doing the proper, like, just row gutters down the end of the pitch and try and score really fast, because he brought on Bomber. And I wanted him to disappear. Backfired massively when his tackle blitzer managed to wrangle its way away from my rat ogre, and tackle 2 heads blitzer is kind of scary. So and then he just took out the gutter, took the ball, and then pretty much had the ball for the whole drive. So and then he scored on like turn 8. Bomber was fine. Like I think he blew his whole treasury as well. By the way, I think I had 285 before for petty cash, and then only like 5k in the treasury. So I think I took Creek and a keg and a coach. But Byron emptied his treasury of 150k and took Bomber, one of the dodgy breaths who it's like hits your guy with mighty blow on a 4-up.
Jorm the ogre, yeah.
Yeah, like if you succeed the foul, if you fail the foul, it's fine. If you succeed the foul, 4+, you're getting hit with mighty blow. Pretty horrible. So I just didn't foul. And I think also he took another coach as well. So it was.
Oh my
it
god,
was,
that
it was
gave
pretty
you
rough.
3 prayers to Nuffle to roll.
Which did nothing.
Yeah.
Which is great. Now come on to prayers to Nuffle. So my prayers to Nuffle were kind of useless. We gave one of my linemen mighty blow, which was fine. The other 2 were, it was like you get SPP if you crowd surf someone. And the other one was 2 of his players had loner 2+, which he just left off the pitch. So that was good. After he scored 1-0, I then kicked to him. Sorry, I had one turn. I had 1 turn left because anyway, whatever. I had a turn left. And I tried to set up the 1-turn touchdown with the gutter runner. So I positioned all my players. He had his troll there with guard. It's fine. I said, guard is fine. I'm going to be blitzing with a rat ogre. Strength doesn't matter. So had the corner set up with the goblin. There was another goblin, and I've had it all worked out to push. And I'm just like, let's just do this. Like I've got a choice here. I could either just go and kill your players and try and like remove as many people, or I could try for this 1-turn touchdown. And I had a really hard think about the positioning. It would have been lots of dice, but had it all ready to go. Rolled kickoff. He got cheering fans, which he won. Then he rolled on the prayers to Nuffle table, rolled a 16, which gives a random player on your team, a primary skill of your choice. He rolled the corner goblin I had to blitz for the 1-turn touchdown, and he gave him sidestep. And I was just like,
that is the perfect counter. That is literally the perfect counter.
And I was just like, that's just up with that. So after that, it was all just a bit downhill. I brought on Creek. Creek did 1 rush to try and hit the troll. And on his first rush, he fell over and knocked himself out.
Oh. Hang on, what are you rushing with Creek for? He's got 5 squares of movement.
He kept missing, and then he had an option to. It was a 66% chance to hit a goblin or a troll, and I thought I gotta try and hit the troll. Well, he made loads of rushes in the last game against elves. It was fine.
Nah, Creek was amazing for you against James's Elven Union, wasn't he?
Yeah, this time he just put me down 172.
And we saw Creek on the top table of the tournament as well, and he was really, really, really good.
He is good.
Creek is excellent.
Even having a tail there, which you can't really get away from,
Prehensile tail is amazing.
Really solid. So that was that, and I eventually got scored against. He just started removing players, and it was had a very skilled up team that was really, really slippery. The thrower, the gutter, and his blitzer are just grim.
You've got
and they were doing everything.
That thrower is amazing, isn't he?
That thrower is amazing.
Block, 2 heads, extra arms, and dodge. He's basically an Edge 2+ Skaven thrower with blodge. Absolutely amazing. Like Byron's done a brilliant job brewing up that team. He's been patient. He's chosen things exactly right, and his placement on the pitch is phenomenal. He really knows what he's doing, and very
well deserved. Incredibly well deserved.
Definitely won it. And I think as a team, Ben, we made him play for it. And I think
I hope so.
Trips actually had the best result against him out of all of us.
He ran through all of us to get to the final.
Yeah, you held him to a 1-1 draw.
Oh, nice.
True, but I did have Griff, and he was like, well, what do you do to stop Griff? You don't.
You don't, yeah. you just let him have it. And
no, it's cool. I mean, the biggest question for me is, are you going to be redrafting the Battersea Bilge Rats?
I'm not. I did give them the final skills. I got safe pair of hands on a gutter runner, which really rounded it off of summarised the league.
Stand firm on the rogue is good though.
He was there for the game, which was actually really good. Yeah, and I finally got tackle on my bits. Well, too late. But...
So are you gonna just bin it off and brew up a new team? I mean,
I'm gonna keep the team there,
hell, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep them online as a good memory. But I do like running a different team each league. So yeah, I'm thinking of going something a little bit heavier. So Tomb Kings or Lizard Men, I think are top two.
Did you get the
Punga Tomb Kings?
Did you? Yeah, you did. You did. You got the Punga Tomb Kings.
I do.
Oh,
I'm hoping to run them. You played against them, didn't you?
I played against Joe's. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was quite entertaining. But no, I'd love to see you paint up the Punga Tomb Kings team actually. To continue your 1 a month Punga team issue. Which is not bad going at all. Not bad going. No,
next is January, so plenty of time.
Yeah, you got time. That means you got 2 months of not painting them before you start painting them. No, I also got a couple of league games in. I got one in against Joe Solo, who is a legend with a beautifully painted Punga team. It was game 2 of the Entoyment League. Skaven versus Tomb Kings. It's a really favourable matchup for Skaven. They've got the edge, and man, Joe's dice were just garbage. There was one point where I just chucked my Blodge Gutter Runner into the backfield as kind of like scoring threat / bait, and he ended up fending off 2 Tomb Guardians and a Blitzer and took 12 dice to the face and didn't go down. It was amazing. They got very, very, very lucky. Just took a lot of opportunities, just kept throwing dice and making attempts, and ended up winning 3-0 on that one, which is pretty cool. It's nice. After running a tough season of Black Orcs, being able to unleash a little bit with Skaven, it feels really good.
You're back home.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm really proud of the Black Mountain Buccaneers and how they got on. I'm so proud of taking Byron to overtime, because that was so flipping close. But my teams are never designed to play 3 halves of Blood Bowl. They're just not. I'm too.
Don't be anyone left, did
I had like 5 people left against 7 Underworld players left, and it was just into overtime where golden goal straight away. It's just a bit, I was very happy to get to that point though, but I'm even happier about the Never Bay Nightmares doing that. They're doing all right in the league so far. So 2 wins, no losses. I can't remember. I've got Adam Pike next, haven't I? With his Necro team, which means I'm going to get more
Adam
guys
Pike.
Fouled out. Yeah,
I was going to say Adam foul, and then foul again.
I love Adam Pike, so it'd be great to play a game with him anyway. But yeah, I don't imagine a huge amount of my team is going to be minced around after that game. I'm down to 890 on TV at the moment, but I am at 11 points, which is the most in either division. So I'm quite happy with that. 6-2 touchdown ratio, 1-3 casualty ratio, which is not bad for me. That's not the worst, I don't think, which is nice.
There's still time for that to change, I think.
Oh my god, yeah, it's only been 2 games.
Wait for them to get some crucial skills first, and then they'll die.
But talking of being 2-0 in the league, White Arrows over there, Triple Pow.
Yeah.
Also undefeated so far at Entoyment Land.
Yeah, had the second game against the Ogre team, so didn't really fancy the Elves against the Ogres, particularly as I think I used all my re-rolls in turn 1 as I failed. I think I failed dodges for the first 4 turns of the first half, and it was pretty painful, to the point where I even had an Ogre score a touchdown against me because I just couldn't stand up and run elves anywhere near. To be fair, he played really well with his ogres. He kept moving them and tagging elves all over the place, and he was getting the odd bonehead, but it would be like the last spare ogre, which was quite annoying. And then I've got the ball back, and in turn 8 just needed to do 1 2+ dodge out to score a touchdown, and of course I fell over doing that dodge as well. But fortunate that the players all were knocked out, came back for the second half. Got a kick right up to the line of scrimmage, ran around the side, scored. And then I was very lucky that I kicked off to him, and his ogre in the middle of the pitch boneheaded straight away, which allowed me to rush all the elves through, go for the goblin, get the ball on the ground, and then properly elven it, score and take a 2-1. So I was very pleased to sneak off with that.
Well, I was watching on Tour Play, just like in the background. I saw you were 1-0 down. I was like, oh wow, what's going on here? And then next thing I know, you'd won 2-1. I was like, wow, absolutely pulled it out. A couple of
when elves need to score, they score.
Yeah, a couple of pro linemen with random strips.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Two random pro linemen, which
that's really good.
It did come in quite useful because. Definitely you could do with more dodge on this team, even though it's just a 2+ everywhere. I've failed that a lot.
Yeah, having that extra 3+ roll, it's pretty good. I mean, you're looking for block, you're looking for kick, aren't you? But pro, I can attest to this. Having Grot Brady with pro and frenzy is a super useful skill. So love that. No, so tons of good Blood Bowl going on. Milton, we keep stealing you over to the mainland. You've snuck any Blood Bowl games in recently?
No, I think the last game I played was my Chaos against the Dwarf team. I might have already talked about this. Can't remember. Won it 2-0. It's a good game. Enjoyed it a lot. But no, since then, not really. 11s.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no. I was quite happy with that. I only lost one player as well. He died, but other than that, everyone else was all right. So that's not too bad going against a slightly skilled up Dwarf team.
Now, when it comes to league, yeah, keeping the TV equal is a challenge, and having that myriad of things to choose from is, I think, a lot better in this edition, guys. Like the actual inducements that you can take, they tend to level the playing field or make your team a threat. Whether you're triple powering it and using Griff, yeah, using Griff or Krieg, or failing at life like my wizard did in the semi-final. Had 3 players, all primed: the ball carrying thrower, the tackle blitzer, and I think another clan rat or something. Any one of them going down would have led me to a Black Orc blitz on the ball carrier in his backfield, and 1-1-2, nothing happened, and I wasted 150k inducement. I should have taken Creek. Ben was right. This is one of those.
Well, don't rush him though.
But playing league with variable team limit is really interesting. It makes it a lot more complicated. Chucking those prayers to Nuffle on as well on top of it can be really hit and miss. Very similar to kind of like Desperate Measures. But when it comes to tournaments, you've always got the same TV, which I really do feel like keeps all the games really, really, really close, which is why I absolutely love Tournament Blood Bowl, and we have got one heck of a tournament to talk about. So let's bounce over now and talk about South Coast Autumn. Okay, so South Coast Series is a bunch of tournament events that Entoyment run. It starts with Beachhead at the beginning of the year, then it goes to South Coast Summer. Both of those are at the BIC, and then Pete, the Entoyment lad, opened up the series and picked up the Rose Bowl, the Aegeus Bowl in Southampton, which is a big old cricket ground, and put on another 2-day event there. So came to us and said, hey, would you be free to run a Blood Bowl event? And we thought, actually, with the way Beachhead had gone really well, with like 11s on the Saturday and 7s on the Sunday, meaning that if you can only come Sunday, you can do that. If you can only come Saturday, you can do that. It seemed like an awesome opportunity to play some Blood Bowl in an actual sports place. And it came around nice and quickly. I know we've been talking about it on the channel for a little while, and we've been all prepping, ready to try out some different things when it comes to streaming games, and Milton's been absolutely burrowing away, getting ready to be the roster master, which was, I've got to say, just impeccably done, dude. Like 100+ rosters, really, really well managed. So thank you first and foremost for that, Milton. That is not a small undertaking, and I know there's some stuff that we can learn from it and do better next time round, but I mean, massive props for that. So South Coast Autumn came around. We had 11s on the Saturday and 7s on the Sunday. Ben was volunteered by us all to be spare man in, or rock, paper, scissors maybe happened. I'm not sure.
I think I said that's probably my turn.
As he's painted up a nice Amazon team and the new Amazon roster was there. So Ben was there, ready to jump in if needed. And spoiler alert, was needed. So we had TO extraordinaires in Trips and Milton with the roster master, me there to be mucking around with cameras, and Ben there to be spare player in. We were all set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 11s event on the Saturday, and then we're going to talk in a separate segment about the 7s event, because they were just two different tournaments of the same weekend, basically. So we're going to start off Trips on the Saturday. Talk us through the format for the day.
So Saturday, nice simple format for the day. It's 3 games of 7s, a couple of hours for each game. And I've got to say a big thank you to all of our players. Registration was at 9:30, and as per usual, 4 minutes after registration had started, we had best part of nearly everybody already checked in and getting ready. So a couple of hours for each game. First match before lunch, then a bit of a break for lunch, and that was on site and really handy. And then a couple of games in the afternoon, and then awards to wrap up about bang on time at 6:00.
Yeah, it was perfect. And Trips, I got to say a massive thank you to you as well. Your organization of skills are unsurprisingly brilliant. But like being on the day, just having it all under control was just absolutely brilliant. And I feel like it was one of the most stress-free tournaments. It was really, really well done. So thank you to you as well. All that prep from both of you really came off perfectly. Now, one of the biggest challenges when running a Blood Bowl tournament is the roster building. We had what I thought was a reasonably simple format this time, Milton. Could you lay down what the roster builds were?
Yeah, so our roster build for this event was 1.1 million gold pieces for drafting your team. Star players are included. You can have 0 to 2 star players. Giants included.
Yes.
So we included the inducements from the core rule book, not anything from Death Zone or anything extra, because that kind of makes things a bit complicated.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, we had a special sort of thing for the event, which was around a mascot. So you could take a mascot in order to get yourself a team reroll for the game. Depending obviously on the tier of the team you took, you got different skill sets. So tier 1, you get 5 primary. Tier 2, you get 4 primary and 2 secondary. And a tier 3 was 5 primary and 2 secondary skills, with no player receiving more than 1 skill.
Yeah. Pretty, for the most part, a pretty low-end tournament budget. 5-6 skills, 1100 TV, but we saw an absolutely brilliant myriad of rosters, which was so cool to see. I think we saw 3 giants as well, which I was in particular really, really, really pleased to see. Now, I went around at lunchtimes on both days and took photos of every single team that was left out on display. So at the end of this episode, I will pop in a slideshow. So all the teams are there, so you can go through and have a look at that. And as soon as I figure out how the GoDaddy website builder works to use a gallery of more than 15 pictures at a time, I'll try and get them up on the website as well, because they were so cool. So as to the no, you know what? Do you guys remember what our predictions were?
Yeah, roughly.
I went back and speed listened to the episode as I was setting up the podcast at 1.5 speed. By the way, quite an entertaining way to listen to the podcast. for you out there. I actually edit the 7 Super Series games at 1.5 speed as well. So at some point,
Nice.
there's going to be like a turn where I'm going to forget to turn the speed back down, which is going to be quite entertaining. But I haven't quite done that yet. And yeah, can you guys remember what your picks for winning in most rosters were? It's okay if you can't.
Yeah, I think I said Black Orcs or Orcs of some variety.
Yeah. Trips, do you remember what yours was?
I think I went Norse because I think the extra reroll with all the frenzy I thought would be popular, and we definitely had a fair few Norse teams.
We did, yeah. You and I both said that the most popular team would have been Norse, and I think everyone kind of agreed with that. I don't believe any of us actually picked the winner.
Did I say Amazons? I thought they'll be new.
Maybe
I can't remember what I said.
You weren't. No, I went back and listened to it, and I still can't remember what I said. I just heard someone say Norse and someone say corn, and I was like, yeah, not bad. But we have got, because it's stats, we've got a big old pie chart here of all the teams that were present at the event. We only had a few teams that had 0 entries. So for the 11s, we had Slan at 0, Wood Elves at 0, and Goblins at 0, which is crazy given how like popular Goblins were the last time round.
Yeah, that was really weird. Where we had I think it was 8 Goblin players at South Coast Summer, with first place and second place being Goblins, and then had none at all across the entire of South Coast Autumn.
And we had 75 rosters registered on the Saturday, and not a Goblin roster at all.
No, I think maybe people had their fill. Although I was talking to Wayne, and Wayne was like, "Oh, if I'd known, I'd have just brought Goblins again."
Yeah. When did Bomber land? Did Bomber land before or after the Norse release?
Before.
Do you think we're seeing this? I think it's funny. One of us actually called it a roster hangover on our guest episode about actually it's like a 3-month delay, a 2 to 3 month delay before that thing gets a spike. And I think those Goblin Stars 2 to 3 months later got a spike. Norse, all right, 6 months later or whatever it is, now got a spike. And I wonder if when we come around to Beachhead in February, we'll see a spike of the new Amazon roster.
I think there's great potential for that. Definitely. I think there's a period of time, isn't there, where people are learning it.
Yeah, I like it's kind of filtering out into like a seasonal thing. Anyway, we had a bunch of different teams. So those are the only 3 that were missing. So Chaos Renegade, Dark Elf, Elven Union, Halfling, Snotling, and Vampires from our friend Good Guy Rick, which was cool. They were all running 1s. We had a bunch of 2s, Chaos Chosen, Dwarf, Nobility, Khorne, Lizards, Ogre, OWA, Undead, Underworld, and High Elves, all of 2 of each. Black Orcs, Necro, Nurgle, and Tomb King, all 3 ofs there, which is an interesting match. Like 6 Nurgle / Tomb King rosters was way more than I expected. But they're strong teams. Orcs at 4, Chaos Dwarves and Skaven at 5. Amazons total at 6 because we were allowing the old roster and the new roster, so I've just totaled them up. It was 3 of each basically. 8 Norse and 9 human for this event, which was just an absolute monstrous mix of teams. I was not expecting that many human rosters.
No, that's surprising.
No, quite surprising.
I can't explain it.
Yeah, I mean, I think humans are just, I think, a really popular team. I think they're competitively great. They're reliable. You know, you get, I think it might just be because of just be Saxby syndrome, but I feel like
recency bias.
Yeah, I just feel like humans can do a lot, and you can build them in any way for a tournament. So, yeah.
Who was our top ranked human at the end of the day? Oh, it was Wayne at 10.
It was Wayne, yeah.
And 13, we had Joe's Toes.
The Nurgle thing was interesting, wasn't it, Trip? Because I think traditionally, Nurgle's not. It's a difficult team to play, right? And it's not necessarily a popular pick. I think, in terms of the sort of Warhammer Age of Sigmar 40k aesthetic, Nurgle's quite a popular character. But the Blood Bowl team is hard work, as I understand it. And so we don't really see that very often. I mean, generally speaking, I've not seen too many Nurgle rosters come to tournaments. And so to have like 3 come to the tournament was quite like a big deal. And we had quite a lot of questions on the day, didn't we? Like about the rules about disturbing presence and
foul
stuff.
appearance.
Disturbing,
Because,
what, when, how, especially the interactions of frenzy and all sorts. Definitely people going, I haven't played this much against a Nurgle team before.
no, it was really cool to
Nurgle
see.
the new Tomb Kings? Like,
I don't think they're that strong.
well, no, just like when it comes to like the challenge of it, the tier 2 challenge. Like it used to be, I'm going to take Tomb Kings and challenge myself. Whereas I think Nurgle, they can be really competitive if you play really well with them. We had Ben land 19th with Nurgle there. So, in the top 20 of a 70 plus man event is pretty good.
Well, one of our Nurgle players brought a giant, so
Yes.
I mean, that makes a difference, doesn't it?
Well, that just makes them awesome people.
Uh,
Who was that? Where's the giant?
and that was Simon, right? So Simon Hawkins, and
Yeah, Nurgle Acorn Giant.
Oh
yeah, okay, right. And can we discuss how he did,
Simon.
or are we saving that for a minute?
Let's go. Yeah, let's bounce back to that. Unless
We'll come back to that one in a minute.
let's go to the website now. I mean, you guys probably have already seen this, but the website, all the full standings and stuff are there, including the team and any star players and all giants they took. So, oh man, that's just a lot of spreadsheety results, which is really, 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 really cool. Now the next thing we wanted to talk about though was star players. I can't remember if we actually talked about guessing the most popular star players.
No, I
But
don't think we did.
I tell you what, let's have a look at this pie chart, because here's one I made earlier. Right, that is the 7s teams. That's not stars. Why did I do it in that order? That's 11s, and that is stars. There we go. So when it came to star players, we had 37 teams with star players, and 35 teams without star player. So just over half teams took a star player. Unsurprisingly, Bomber top spot there, 10 teams with Bomber, 12%. Hack Flem 7 teams, Acorn 5, Griff 5, Zug kicking around at 4, Fungus 3, 2 Glarts, 2 Ivars, 2 Carlas, 2 Creeks, 2 Lord Borax, a Deep Root, which was Wayne, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We had an Estelle. I'm interested to find out how and if that went well. A Morg and a Wilhelm as well. So there's a good mix of stars. How many different stars are we talking about there? 15. There must be, 30 stars now? 35 stars? So less than half represented. None of them surprise me. There's no star there that I'm like, wow, they took that one.
I'd say Ivar. I like Ivar, but we had, 2 Ivars there?
Yeah, 2 Ivars. Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess he's cheaper than Griff, isn't he? So he's easier to squeeze in. So
Yeah, and we had a lot of Norse teams, so you are a little bit restricted for stars with the Norse team. You've got a nice range of stars that are ridiculously expensive. You can't really squeeze into a Norse roster with anything but linemen, so he's sort of in that sweet spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had Carlos take Norse with Ivar, and we had Nazgob take Halflings with Ivar and Zug, which is pretty cool. It's interesting. I like that. That's a cool build that isn't your traditional like just Griff. So that was really, really, really cool to see as well. So it was a really cool mix of teams. Nothing that massively surprised me, I guess. Just that heavy. Sorry, Mo.
Well, yeah, did like all the Goblin players from South Coast Summer just go, well, I've got Bomber, but I don't really fancy running in with Goblins. So
what else can I take him with? Oh, half the team's in Blood Bowl.
yeah, he's just good. He's just really good and reliable. He fills a gap.
I think he's just cheap, isn't he?
Cheap,
basically?
Yeah. Cheap, good, reliable.
He's
easy to
like
squeeze in.
he's more. I feel like because he's the same price as a keg, right? And I feel like it's like you've got a keg in one hand and you've got Bomber in the other, and he's considerably more enticing, right? Like, he's a more interesting choice.
And we saw him in a lot of cool different builds. Tyler ran Ogres with Griff and Bomber. Rupert DaCosta ran Underworld with Glart and Bomber. He's so cheap, like you said, Bill. You can kind of chuck him in anywhere. Black Orcs with Bomber there. Tony Field, John Bowers, Black Orcs, Bomber, Chaos Dwarf, Bomber for Ollie. Daniel Martin Corbin. I love this so much. Snotlings, Bomber and Fungus and a Giant, which was sweet. Joe, Joe, we saw that. Ogres, Bomber and Fungus. So he's very rarely on his own. Skaven with Glart and Bomber. Dalio with Fungus and Bomber. You know, it's just, he's so cheap. You can fit him on so many teams that why would you not? And I think when it comes to like playing in a league now, because he's only 50k, if you've got the cash, then I'm not saying he's always going to get you the win in the same way that Hackflem or Griff does, but he's going to warp the game heavily for a keg worth of value. Like, even if he just forces your opponent to bin off activations to try and go after him or just play around him, the fact is he can just 2+ blow up 9 squares most of the time. It's just, yeah, he's just great and really good value. So I absolutely loved that. Now, when it came to the day, the way we run our tournaments is someone is the odd man out. So if we have a dropout, then actually one of us is ready to step in and play. They've got a roster. If 2 people drop out, then we don't, and they run their TO extra. But Blood Tithe Ben, with his beautifully painted Punga team, ended up stepping in and playing for the weekend. So, BT, you got chucked in the thick of it, and we robbed you for table 1 as well on the first day.
Yes. Well, we figured if anything were to go wrong, at least only one paying coach is ruined. So yeah. So I had the first game on live streamed on the channel, which is there for you to watch. Want to go see it? And that was against Nurgle.
It was against.
And what a game that was!
Jamie with Nurgle, and this
Jamie
was
Tyrrell,
so cool. It was just vanilla.
Delightful person, by the way. Absolutely contagious energy. Really contagious. Like, everything I was doing, if I did something that felt dirty, I felt bad because he was just like, "Oh, this is cool. It's cool. It's cool." I was just like, "Oh, not cool though, is it? It's not cool. Amazons are not fair."
He was running the Toxic Crusaders, Nurgle Rotspawn, 4 Bloaters, 2 Pestigors, 4 Rotters, 3 rerolls, the mascot as well. So that was 11 players, basically maxed out, all with block. Milton, I did think about you when I saw this roster. 4 Bloaters with block and 2 Pestigors with block.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
It was mighty. And Ben, before we delve into the game thing, let's just quickly talk about your Amazon roster.
Yes.
So you had 2 blockers, both with block, 2 blitzers, 1 with catch, 2 throwers, 1 with accurate, and then 6 linemen. So 12 roster. 1 of them had kick, 4 rerolls, and the mascot. So a ton of rerolls. You had 2 throwers. I feel like during the game you forgot you had 2 throwers. But that might have been just me watching.
I think I only was on the ball with like one of them. I did. I think I should have just put a thing around it to remember I had another thrower. But yeah, I was just treated one of the throwers as a lineman. The other one was the standby lineman until the accurate one was dead. So that was basically how I was treating it.
No, okay, man. So talk us through what you remember of the game. I realised that it was a lot of Blood Bowl ago now.
No, I just remember. I remember the first half being very much an Amazon game. Because I remember pretty much all the rolls were in my favour. There was one catch. I remember passing the ball in the backfield, missing it, leading to an inaccurate pass when I forgot I took accurate. So it would have been all right, but it ended up delaying the half for kind of a really grindy offensive touchdown for the entire half. What I remember, I remember foul appearance being genuinely really annoying. He made so many of those. I failed so many of those. But it kind of balanced out because his Beast of Nurgle was not good. His Beast of Nurgle really didn't want to play the game. I think in the first half he failed like 3 at least, really stupid, which very much helped. I didn't do many blocks because against a full Nurgle roster with high strength and block everywhere, not great. However, the blockers were really good for clearing out some easier picks like the attacking the Pestigors or the Rotters. Dice very much in favor of the Amazon half. Second half, however, I received some pain in that. He suddenly Nurgle switched on and started really removing players left, right, and center. That was when I kind of realized that the new Amazon roster can kind of withstand that. I think old Amazons could probably withstand that a bit more to a degree. I think still having 2 strength 4 pieces with more armor gives you a bit more longevity when you start having those games where they are just rolling powers and both downs when you don't have block. So in the second game, started removing pieces, but I put up like a slow defense, and it ended up being a 1-1 draw.
It was
quite enough points to score.
Fantastic match.
Yeah,
I loved it. I loved watching it. Chat really enjoyed it as well. And like Ben said, all the games are on the channel. So if you want to watch Nurgle versus New Amazons, massive game of 2 halves, BT.
Huge.
That first half, Nurgle just. I mean, Jamie wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just his
Mm-hmm.
dice weren't bad except for the Beast. The Beast was garbage in that first half.
Yeah,
The armor rolls were really lucky for Zons in the first half.
very much so.
And the second half, that switched and they got brutalized. And it was really good to see the team in a place of confidence and a team in a place of being a bit sweaty in that second half. But I think there was a final drive there that you nearly swung the 2-1, which was really cool to see. Chat was mostly impressed that you could roll well when you weren't being filmed. They were like, "What? Ben rolls? Ben, what's going on?" And I was like, "Yes, this is it. This is the massive difference between filming games when you're talking through what you're doing and just playing Blood Bowl." I was like, "Why do you think he's in the finals?" It was really cool to see. Jamie, such a lovely guy. It was so cool. It was really good to stream it. Really good to see a very, very competent Nurgle coach hold their own against the shiny new roster. I thought was awesome.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, really good game. Really enjoyable game. All of them were.
So that took us into round 2. Now, we had a different top team, which was a different pair of teams in the top, which I was very excited about. We had Dalio, old Dave Lyons from Entoyment, on the top table playing against Buster Gut with Skaven. So I was absolutely jazzed. We had Fungus and Bomber for the awesome looking Brute Fun team, which was again really cool to see, and Glart and Bomber for the Skaven team. So I was very happy that we had Skaven on the top table, and Dalio did rightly point out, it was like, the commentary is going to be really unbiased here, isn't it, Ben, towards Skaven? And I was like, yeah, definitely. That was a really cool game to watch as well. But we binned you off the top table at that point and set you loose into the wild, Ben. So who did you end up playing in round 2?
I was up against Pete in round 2. Pete Hanley running Skaven as well. This game was a nightmare. I don't know if Milton or Trips, if I think I was facing the other way. If I was facing towards the tournament table, you would have seen my looks absolute agony. We rolled weather and it was sweltering heat, and we were like, all right. Oh no, sorry. It was very sunny. It was really sunny, and we were like, okay, we're 2 teams that kind of like to pass. Not ideal. Only short passes. Oh no, what is sweltering heat again? It's like -1 to passing. Oh, sorry, very sunny. Like -1 to passing.
Very sunny is -1 to passing attempts.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, right, okay, it's going to be a running game then, is it? And then immediately on the first kickoff, it was changing weather to a blizzard. It was like, okay, it's going to be England, is it? So I mean, the weather for the day was kind of apt for that. So so I went into blizzard, and my team felt that. I think that was the best result Skaven could have had, because Amazons do not keep up with them, and I was having to rush a lot. And the amount of 2s I rolled, and like 2s into 1s into 1s and 2s into 2s, I couldn't do the rushes. I think on my second turn I'd burned through all my 4 rerolls and the mascot just on rushing.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was miserable. It was just miserable. However, Amazons do quite outskilled Skaven in like the sort of skills you can get on them. Skaven have the speed, but they don't have the real sort of like, control elements that a team like Amazons or like Nobility or, those teams where you kind of get a few skills, but you pay for it. It's so that I was able to kind of keep them in track, and I was burning a lot of the rushes, but I was still removing key pieces. So it was a real good game. I think it ended up being 3-2.
3-2. Yeah,
yes,
I love Pete's.
Yeah, high scoring game.
4 gutters, one with wrestle.
The reason why
block,
we were desperate to change the weather.
Oh, it just keeps.
Both
scoring.
of us were there, just like change the weather, score. I'll let you score because it has to stop being a blizzard.
2 blitzers, one with guard. 2 throwers, one with leader. 4 clan rats, one with kick. 3 rerolls plus leader plus the mascot. Yeah, this is 2 explosive teams. I like this Skaven roster. That's just Skaven with an apothecary as well to keep the players alive. That's really cool to see. How did Pete do?
I think this game was the first time I saw defensive kind of be quite useful. He took a guard,
the
right?
guard on the guard on one of the blitzers.
So it's the first time I've used the defensive skill because it's not one you ever take.
Was it a bit of a gotcha?
No, I was fully like aware. I made them all aware. This is defensive. Your guard will not work here on your turn. So yeah, it was good. It is good. It came up more relevant later in, I think, 7s. But yeah, sometimes you're there just like, oh, I'm so glad you don't have guard right now. I'm so glad. I think where it shines is when they have more guard, because otherwise I could just have guard and it's kind of the same, but I get guard. But where defensive is there turning off like multiple guards, you're like, just like, good.
No, so cool. Then we went into round 3. Top table was between Norse with Lord Borak and Creek and Norse with Hackflem, which was, I think, my pick of the rosters to watch on the day. Going into this round, we had Norse 1, Norse 2, Norse 3, Lord Borak, Creek 1, Hackflem 2, and Griff 3. So New Norse were well represented going into the final round, which was very, very, very cool. Now, that was another absolutely brilliant game. And I think probably one of my favourite ones of the whole weekend to stream, because HD rocked up all of a sudden. It was like, hey, here's this master crafted Blood Bowl pitch. Would you like to use this with your shiny new cameras? And it looked absolutely awesome.
It really did.
That thing's so good. And like, I was talking to him about it, and I was like, what is this made of? And he was like, oh, it's mostly made of that foam. And I was like, so what, you like cut this all out individually? And he was like telling me how he does it. It's like 50 hours or something.
Yeah, that's what
to
he
like
said.
make the whole thing. So crazy, but really good, really cool. And he had a he had a 7s one as well, but we'll go into that a bit later.
Yeah, man, that was so good to see. So BT, you're going into round 3. Let's see if I can find you.
I'm up against Mr. BB Tactic.
Oh, coach.
Round 3. Yeah, coach John Bowers.
Yeah. Oh, Black Orc with Bomber. Good lad.
Oh, this was a headache of a game. This was like a real thinker. We both made like some really silly errors, and we were just like, oh yeah, it's just as well, isn't it, that BB Tactics people and like BB Tactics guy, podcast guy, don't know any rules. But yeah, it's this was such a fun game. Such a fun game. This was the one where I got sweltering heat in, which then changed to pouring rain immediately. So the pouring rain hurt the Black Orcs pretty bad.
That's not ideal.
Those goblins were struggling to pick up the ball. I fluked it with just rolling the 4 and never let go. So I didn't throw it or anything in this game. But yeah, this was 2 control teams, proper controlling. Where I was trying to keep up with Skaven in the last game and try and play the Amazons like a Dash team and not doing great at it. They were more effective against Black Orcs, I think. The sort of moving an assist and blitzing with like the blockers is pretty crazy because you can really kind of out bash the Black Orcs. For if you position, so you're just hitting them with blockers, then you certainly can. And plus you can dodge away from them, which is just massive. So yeah, positioning wise, Amazon's really had this game. But just strength wise, Blackhawks always get through when they need to. So.
Love Blackhawks. Yeah, this is full strength roster as well. Six Blackhawks. Are they actually called Black Orc Brawlers, or is that entirely me making that up? I think that might have been me making that up as their position. And a troll, guard, and guard on 4 of the brawlers. Our leader on another one, block on 1 of the goblins. There's 5 goblins, 6 Black Orcs, a troll, bomber, dribble, snot, 2 rerolls. So 2 rerolls plus leader plus mascot plus a bribe there to keep bomber around. You know, it's not a fast Black Orc team, but it's a fully loaded Black. That's basically my league team.
Yeah,
it's a very capable team.
This is the game where defensive certainly shined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to hit a strength 4 blodger without guard.
Yeah.
A bit challenging.
Like, you can't. Bomber unfortunately didn't do much for him in this game because he scored, I think he got the first receiving touchdown. And was... Oh, no, sorry. I think I scored and he was forced to bring Bomber on because he didn't have enough players. Taking out a couple of goblins.
Yeah.
So he had to bring Bomber on for 1 turn and then just ended the drive and that was him gone. So, yeah, Bomber didn't do much on this roster. I think it probably could have, though. Amazons are very scared of Bomber. That low armor is quite scary.
Yeah, cheeky bit mighty blow. And your dodge means nothing to shrapnel, does it? So
nope.
That's pretty reasonable. Wicked. So you ended up 40 out of 72, which is not a terrible place to be.
Fine.
1-1-1 for the day with Zons. 4-4 for touchdowns, 46 points, -7 on casualties, and -4 on fouls, which is fair enough. You're not a massively foul-y player, Ben, so the fact you reported 0 fouls makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean, it was cool. I'm really glad you got to get so much experience with the 11s. With that's 4 games you've played now with Zons in 11s, which is pretty good. Which means we can pick your brains as we go forward with how the team plays and some things, and especially when we run on the next Bonehead Championship and we get rolling with them, you're gonna have a bit of a head start. So that was Ben selling him to the tables. Trips, from your point of view, running the TO table there with Milton being your roster master. How did the event look from your table of power?
So really good, and way less rules queries. We had a few around Nurgle and a couple around what happens when you get pitch cleared, or if you get pitch cleared but everyone's in the KO'd box, which always tells you a story of how that game's going. But it was great to see, and lots of really hard games. There was hardly a draw at all in the first couple of rounds. A bit more in the second round, but it was really, there was some really hard Blood Bowl being played, and lots of games swinging in the last sort of 15-20 minutes of the game. So really good to see it.
The old witching hour, which was very cool. Now, it was just awesome to have 34 games of Blood Bowl each round. So that's 34 tables worth. So that's 112 games of Blood Bowl just on the Saturday. And processing all that from the TO point of view, you've got to say you guys did a brilliant job of getting the results out there onto the website as well, because we tried a different thing. We had the TV, RIP, and so we bring the TV to all of our events because we put the pairings on there, because sometimes it's easier just to look at the screen. So I brought the TV along with me on the Saturday, and it was good as gold. And then on the Sunday, it rained like mad, and the TV never recovered. So RIP TV. Got a new one now, so it's fine. But we also put all the standings, everything up on the website, and that 2 things that was awesome for me doing coverage, because this is probably one of the highlights of my entire weekend, was the guys in chat telling me about results of games that were finishing while I was doing coverage of the top table. It was so cool. It was just like, oh, Tomb Kings just did this, or like, you know, oh, Vampires just lost. Like, it was just so cool to see people from around the world, like literally around the world, tuning in to watch the matches, tuning in and looking at the standings and everything like that. And it was just an absolute highlight. That felt really, really, really good. So I know it's an extra work to put it into the Google Sheet as well, but having it go live straight to the website, I think it made things a bit easier coming back after lunch on one of the 2 days.
I don't think we'd realised how much people were using it, but we know that people were at lunch in the bar and they knew their table matchup already, which was pretty impressive because we hadn't even put it on the TV at that stage.
I like that. I'm happy with that. That's really, really, really cool. So, I mean, we should probably do the role of victory for the Saturday. But I mean, everybody we got a chance to talk to, it was so cool. We had some guys from Sweden, we had Spain. It was so wicked just to see people come down from everywhere to play Blood Bowl and to have a chat and to have a really good day. The venue was pretty good on the Saturday. We've got some bits ready to talk through, I think, as we go into the Sunday. But the timings, I think, were really good on the Saturday. Everyone seemed to have enough time. You know, I wasn't there for the summer tournament, but the winter tournament, like Beachhead, really stuck with me, as those timings and the BIC just not being able to provide food and beer for people being pretty horrendous. This one didn't feel like that at all. It felt like, I mean, Ben, you were in the thick of it as well. So as a player, I mean, it felt like everyone had enough time to be able to play their game out.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, go to the bathroom, grab a drink, have a chat. And I think...
And that's really important that you spent just like banging downtime, you know, seeing other teams and stuff. I think that's part of the fun. So.
Yeah, that bit of space for people to gather and talk it through and
chat about their
through.
Games.
Yeah. And it was nice. We had a number of players. It was like either their sort of first few games or definitely their first few tournaments. And we tend to always keep a slightly closer eye on them for rules helping, but also to make sure that they know what's going on and how. And they were all having a whale of a time. And I think from Milton's and I's point of view, when we're hearing to see people that have never come to a tournament, you can just see their eyes lighting up. And it's always good when halfway before round 3, they're like, so when's the next tournament? You're like, yes, you are hooked. Well done.
Yeah, definitely. I think we had quite a few new people, didn't we, for South Coast Autumn? I think the Aegeus Bowl as a venue kind of brought in some people that maybe wouldn't necessarily have made their way to the BIC, but I think they might now, having come and done the tournament.
An army from
Portsmouth.
An
absolute 13 players from DICE, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That's
48 coach league. Somehow 48 people in the vicinity of Portsmouth play Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Regularly enough to be in a round robin league. Like there's us in Wobble. We've got 20 something coaches and maybe like 12 turn up every week. And there's like Portsmouth, which just stops on a Thursday night or whatever and plays Blood Bowl, which is awesome. Okay, so standings on the day, we played 3 rounds and it was super close going into the final round, I think. Was Saturday the day trips where there was like 12 teams within 4 or 5 points of each other going into that last round?
Yeah, so Saturday going, it's always quite fun in the last round, just sort of reminding people where they are. But yeah, I think we had all the top 6 tables were in with an opportunity of winning on Saturday, and it was going to come down to a good win, or as we were describing it, a good violent win.
Yeah, because the way we do our tournament scoring is 30 points for a win and up to basically plus 1 point per touchdown and per casualty, up to 3 of each, and plus 1 for clean sheet if you don't let any touchdowns in. So a total of 37 points. So you can win and get 31 points, or you can absolutely destroy your opponent on 37. And those extra points came in massively important, because as it came to the end, we had Giles, I think, and Chris on the table. That was Norse Phlegm and then Norse Borak and Creek on table 1 going into that round. And at the end of the day, we had Luke Williams take the cup at 106 points, 3-0 with Norse and your boy Griff Trips.
Absolutely, yeah. He fully used him to his advantage and picking up those points in a hard round 3. But yeah, he was played well with Griff.
Yeah.
Luke's really consistent as well. I think he top tabled in South Coast Summer as well. I don't think he won outright, but I think he was up on the top table for at least one game, or maybe not, if not 2. He was definitely up there.
The roster came in 2 Ulf Warriors, both with block, 2 Valkyries, 1 with leader, 1 with dodge, 1 Berserker with guard, a Beer Boar, and then 5 Raiders. 1, 2, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players, plus Griff and 1 reroll. So using leader for the second reroll and the mascot. So 2.5 rerolls, a half with that amount of block, with the Ulfs having block as well, with a bit of dodge on the Valkyrie, which we saw a lot of. We saw a lot of dodge Valkyries, and we saw them really perform well. I know that was kind of your pick for that player and that player's roll trips, and I think that's what we're seeing. That's definitely how it's coming in there. The Beer Boar, to be basically just that extra cheap player to be able to afford a star. We saw tons of Beer Boars, literally just as Jimmy Carr accounting workarounds, which makes me so happy.
Yeah, lots of Norse rosters and lots of like, that's 11 players. Well, it's really 9 and 2 9 and 2 stars.
Exactly. You have 9 and 3 halves.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to see him on the pitch as well, because we've actually got to see a Beer Boar do some good work on the pitch, and just being like, and a 3+ dodge away, and provide my little assist now for a 4-die Ulfbar on a block. And I was like, that Beer Boar is legitimately like a Disney side character, like just his little apprentice running around helping, causing carnage. It was so good to see. But I mean, Griff is a fantastic player. He's always such a strong challenge to play against. I personally do not mind him as much as Hackflem. But it's not far off, is it? So it was wicked to see that. It was cool to see that. We had Bashto come in second with Chorse, with Hackflem, 105 points, and Giles, who we got to see on top table with Norse, with Borak and Creek, which was a super interesting roster. Basically, I think just a Berserker, a Yeti, a bunch of Lyman and Beer Boars with Borak and Creek. Creek was just carnage. Borak, strength 5 block with his own little bribes. So he had like no rerolls, but a reroll for the mascot and a reroll for Borak, and I think maybe a leader reroll or something. So actually,
interesting.
Yeah, it was a really clever roster. So I was having a wonderful time going into that round looking at these two. I was like, we've got Hackflem, so we've got a Skaven on the top table technically, which I was very happy with. 8 linemen, 2 Beer Boars, a Yeti, a Berserker with guard, Yeti with mighty blow, a dirty player, and 2 pro Norsemen, Creek and Lord Borak. That was it. That was the roster.
Wow.
Really leaned into the star players, and worked, because Borak is just so sneaky consistent. He's really expensive, but he is a reroll, right? So, and then just Creek, Ben, you would have loved it. Like just Creek going to
I have to watch that game.
Yeah, Creek worked magic there. We had Leoric with Korn, with this really interesting Chocobo team. So this is John from Entoyment, coming in 4th place with Korn there. Again, 3-0. And Itchin, OWA with Griff coming in 3-0. HD, Norse with Hackflem 3-0 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 undefeated teams going in and wrapping out the day, which was cool, and just a few points in between them. So getting those builds of scoring a lot, casualtying a lot, it's really important. Got to pull out here Giles with that 23 fouls though with Lord Borak, because Lord Borak's got dirty player +1 or +2 or something, so he's just like an absolute foul machine. Creek knocks him down, Borak keeps him there. Absolutely brilliant little combination.
Nice.
10 casualties there for him. There we had Dark with Tomb King, Nazgob with Halfling, Ivar Zug, Tagdi with Dwarves, Wayne with Human and Deep Root. And normally I do the whole reel, but with 75 coaches, I think the best thing to do is just to pop to the website and check out your favorite team, your favorite combinations there. But I mean, Of those rosters, guys, was there any there that piqued your interest a huge amount? Other than all of them?
I always like seeing the giant rosters because they're just fun and detailed. And we got close to a giant off. They ended up on tables next to each other in round 3, but not quite playing each other. But fascinating to see. And I think the best thing with the giants is almost watching the opponent as they line up, because you can see the opponent going, what is that? And then looking through the skills going, so I'll be going to the other side of the pitch and staying well away from that thing.
You can't. He's fast as well.
They are so fast. It's so good how like people are like, and sorry, they're movement 6 with break tackle. Like, yeah, they are. I loved Emma's roster though, running undead. 2 mummies, both with guard, 2 ghouls, 1 with sure hands, 1 with wrestle, 3 skellies, 4 zombies, 1 with kick, rightly so, 1 reroll, and a giant in there. Giant undead.
An awesome giant.
Yes.
Very, very cool sort of conversion piece she's done that with that. It's very cool.
Oh, is it like the zombie giant?
Yeah, she'd like
really cool.
I don't know, like carved like half of its face out and like got the skull and the sort of like rotting flesh there. It was very cool.
Yeah. All of the giants were really good. Simon's Nurgle one, and you can't not mention Daniel, like Dan, his like the comic book painting style.
Yeah,
the whole team
cool.
was just so cool. The teams looked so good at this event.
Really did.
Everyone
did a fantastic job.
Just going around and looking at all the tables, like everybody was repping something really cool, and I mean that's just an extra special thing that I thought was just wonderful. I
think for me, like the thing that I was really looking out for was the stunties. So, like we only had, was it 4?
4, 5 stunty?
4 stunty teams. So we had a halfling, an ogre, and 2 snotlings, I think. And I think it was Joe Wilkins Kemp who was running the ogre team. I don't think there was a moment during the day where I didn't see a massive smile on his face. He was having a whale of a time with his ogre team. He was absolutely loving it.
We saw
and
Joe
when I said there weren't
sevens.
that many stunty teams, and he thought he had a decent chance of getting in there and getting the stunty cup, I think he really went for it and he tried his best. And the stunty teams are a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think because the pool was so small.
What was this?
Look at his stats.
Ogre
They're
Bomber
great.
Fungus.
Yeah.
So what was this Ivar Zug halfling one?
That was Nazgob, who did take the stunty cup, which was halfling, Ivar, and Zug.
And he almost took the dirty player as well.
Ooh, 32 fouls. Oh, we had to go on tiebreakers for that, didn't we?
We went on tiebreaker for this one. So Simon
with the Nurgle.
With the Nurgle actually just
less fouled again.
Yeah, slightly better differential. It's crazy. You don't expect to have to go to tiebreakers when someone's done 32 fouls for the day.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look at Nazgob's roster, because this is he's not player. He's one player 125. Milton, you've done an outrageous job with these rosters. This is so good. It was so good for the stream as well, because they were like, "Oh, who's running vampires and what's the roster?" And I was like, "One moment, please." Click, 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 and ready to go. I felt the most like the Magic Pro Tour I think I ever will in my life. So the Marienburg Fireflies. This is Nazgob. 2 treemen, a catcher, 8 hobbits, no rerolls, a chef, Ivar, and Zug. I mean, that's a ton of strength, isn't it? 2 strength 6, 1 strength 5, pro on both the trees, sure feet everywhere for the hobbits, and Zug to just be there. So that's 2. Yeah, that's a ton of blocks every turn. That's a ton of blocks every turn. That's horrible.
Wow. Yeah, it was certainly a tough stunty list, that's for sure. And I think deservedly he took the stunty champ trophy home on that one. It was some fierce hobbits.
Very, very, very fierce hobbits, I think.
Ivar lets you move one free, doesn't he?
He does have the ability to move an unmarked player 1 square.
Yeah.
That's like +50 the movement on a tree.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty big.
Ivar with a giant. Like, if you could fit that in the roster, that'd be pretty sweet with multiple block, strength 7, and mighty blow +2.
Yeah.
Or just put multi-block on a tree, I guess, at that point. Okay, so that was the standings. That was the stunty. And then for the kind of rest of the prize pool on the Saturday, the overall was Luke, as we spoke about. With stunty was Nazgob, I think. Is that right? It was Nazgob, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Nazgob. That's cool. The best mascot. So we had this special rule for the event, which was that you could get a mascot for free if you bring a miniature, and once per game you can use it as a reroll. Like, so it's half a reroll basically. So once per game you use it. It's kind of like Borak's thing. We kind of thought it was a sporty theme. I know that the rule kind of meant that everyone got an extra reroll and therefore kept the games maybe a little bit longer, that we'll probably have to review that one for next year. But it did lead to some really great stuff on both days, and the best mascot on the day was Drew Creedy. The best team was Simon Hawkins. That was the
Nurgle.
Yeah, that was
the Nurgle team, yeah.
With the giant. He used a Cygor, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Which was very cool. And like the boulder, he'd got the Spike logo painted onto it in quite good detail, which was very cool.
God, I love that kind of stuff. It's so cool. Participation was Tom Wheatley, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, he was running Amazons with Estelle, and they had a painful day, and I think he had some unpleasant dice rolls.
Ooh, that's interesting. I would have expected Estelle to be pretty cool. I like that. Dirty player, we've already talked about that. Simon, most casualty, Dan Brown. Most touchdowns, John with Corn, which was crazy. And of course, it was Barney's birthday, which was a lovely little twist. So he got everybody together and sang him happy birthday. What grown adult man doesn't like 70 Blood Bowl players singing happy birthday to you on the event? I did love that. I thought that was great. PC's making noises because I am typing into nothing at all. I was just having a quick look to see. Dan Brown was Orcs with Bomber, wasn't it? Orcs with Bomber. 14 casualties on the day. That'll do. It's not bad for 3 games. Simon Hawkins was also up there, but we had to go for tiebreakers for that as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Very handy to have the sheet set up to do such a thing when we've got that many coaches being that violent.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Well, the Saturday event was just awesome. Like, so much good Blood Bowl. I know we had a few dropouts, but we always do. We had less than what we'd expect. We normally expect kind of like 5 to 10%. And I think what was the final like dropout rate, Milton, on the day? Was it 1?
Yeah, just the 1, and I think we only had 4. Was it 4 drops? Yeah, four drops total, and 3 of those had kind of pre-warned anyway. So only one no show, as it were, and we're really good.
So my guess for the day was Underworld to come back and make a splash and win with a Hackflem roster. Rob Quick, I love Rob. If he turned up with the Underworld, Hackflem, and Creek roster, could have proved me right there. But it was cool to see the Norse Griff roster, and we got a high elf team in there as well. It was so good, so many cool teams. No slan, but you can't have everything. A massive thank you to everybody who came, everybody who travelled, everybody who played, and to each and every one of you 3 guys just for running an outrageously brilliant event. I got to legitimately fulfill a life goal, which was to stream live Blood Bowl event. And we did. We streamed the top table all day long. We had a brilliant time just filming games and playing top table stuff. And it was just amazing. And I haven't really got over it yet because it doesn't feel real, which is really funny. Like, Tiff's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I've got post-project blues now. I'm just really depressed by how rubbish my normal everyday life is."
We should probably share for those 1 or 2 that weren't able to come the highlight and the funny nature of it. So literally, Ben spent the 2 days of the tournament sitting in a garden tent in the corner of the room because that was blocking off the sound. So you supposedly couldn't hear Ben, but believe me, we could hear the odd excitement. We could tell exactly what was going on the table, less by the reactions of the players, more by the
screaming from the tent.
Sports commentary. So Ben was sitting in what was an increasingly
gazebo.
warm gazebo through the day, streaming along while the games were playing outside.
Yeah, it was cool. It was ridiculous. There were some really funny things, and because I put the window facing into the tournament hall, people would come up, like knock on the window and wave and everything. It was really good fun. I do regret on the Saturday not being able to spend more time sort of just mooching about and having a chat. We're going to change up things next time because it was so good listening to people where they come from, what they're up to. I had a great chat with the South Kent area Blood Bowl crew on the Saturday morning, talking about like where they've come from, where the league was. That was really cool. So yeah, do some things differently next time. Probably don't need the tent. It was a cool idea to have my streaming gazebo, but it really wasn't necessary. But it was a cool pop-up gazebo, and I was like, this will be great. But I got to do it, which was amazing, and couldn't have done it without you guys, not by a long shot. And I'm really happy with how it came out. It's certainly not perfect, certainly some things we can do better, but I'm chuffed that we got to do it. And I mean, it just opens up a whole bunch of things of what we can do in the future, whether we use the top table as wherever me or Ben is in the entire event, and we stream that game while talking. I don't know, we can do something different. But yeah, for me, that was the highlight of the Saturday. Guys, any particular highlights for the Saturday before we move on to the Sunday?
No, just a blast.
It's great.
Other than that,
Yeah, I just think that
highlight.
everyone enjoyed it, and they were so happy, and it just went so well. I think that was just the ultimate highlight.
Oh man, so good, so good. Okay, guys, we're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be back with the Sunday Sevens. Okay, we're back. So we had a lot of fun playing 112 games of 11s on the Saturday, and that left us with the nice chill day of sevens on the Sunday. I love sevens events. They are so much more relaxed, I think would be fair to say, guys. And we had nearly 80 games of sevens to play on the Sunday. So, Trips, what was the itinerary for our Sunday day?
So Sunday was 4 games of sevens at an hour each. We did make a small issue with timing that we gave ourselves 0 minutes between each round. So thanks to all our players not minding to miss a bit of lunch. Most of them had finished round 2 on time or on the appropriate time. There was just one game that ran a little late. Played through to awards at about 3:45 in the afternoon, so just in time for everyone to rush out into a thunderstorm.
Yeah, the weather was garbage on Sunday morning, wasn't it? I didn't think you were going to make it, Milton.
Proper lightning.
It was a bit thundery and lightning in the morning, wasn't it?
The choppy seas. How was it?
No, actually, it calmed down by the time I got down to the ferry terminal. But I very sensibly drove there this time.
After not getting the bus not showing up and you having to run.
Having to run to the ferry terminal with all the rosters on my back on the Saturday morning was an interesting way to start the day.
Give you a nice few hours to work up a nice Wargamer Musk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always bring a spare shirt and
yeah. So the weather was very bad. And then we also discovered that, so we had pitches printed for the event, just because not everyone brings a pitch. And at Beachhead, we ended up scavenging around trying to get sevens pitches. So we had 100 of these pitches just printed up for the event. Just we'll put them on the tables. If people want to use their own pitches, they can use their own pitches. If they don't want to bother or whatever, then they've got pitches right there. So we don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about it. And it's all good to go. And then the rain came. And then, the ceiling in that building was not quite so good at blocking out the sunshine, as you'll see in a couple of our streamed games, and even worse at blocking out rain. So we had a few soggy tables. I think, is it Whiskey Monster that got dribbled on as well, Ben? He was saying.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
poor
had some
Julian.
water just dripping. Yeah.
Sunday morning we went and set up, and there were, I think we had 5 tables which looked like the weather result from the night before had been playing overnight and staying with it. So fortunate to move a few around, and I think everything got a bit cold and damp overnight. Even condensation on the camera, I think, if I remember right.
That was stressful. That was so stressful, setting up the stream on the Sunday morning and just being like, why is my camera fogged and weird? Like, what's going on? It was like watching an episode of like Ghost Adventures or something, and I was like, why is this fogged? There should be no reason it fogged. So out came the kitchen roll, and like it worked itself out, but I was just there going like, my TV's broken. We've lost 20 pictures to the rain, and now the camera's gonna stop working. However, it was fine in the end, and now I've got a bigger TV, so it's all right. It's okay. But yeah, beautiful coming into that. It was so good, and it's such an easy place to get to. That free parking in the car park, 30 yards across the road from the atrium. I'm all right with that. Like,
yeah, that's a huge upgrade. Bournemouth is not the easiest place to park or the cheapest. So yeah, free parking just off the motorway is very, very convenient.
Did appreciate that. But we were going to be playing some sevens. Now, sevens is an awesome format, different build from 11s. Milton, you want to give us a rundown of what you could bring with you on the Sunday sevens?
Yeah, so we were going with a 600 gold piece package, 600,000 rather. No stars, because it's sevens. Don't do stars in sevens. With the skill packages of tier 1 at 2 primary, tier 2 at 2 primary and 1 secondary, and tier 3 at 2 primary and 2 secondary skills. Which is it's a pretty nice package for sevens. I mean, sevens is quick. The mascot thing, as we kind of like talked about earlier, also included in the sevens thing, did kind of lend the games to being a bit longer.
Yeah.
Than perhaps you'd normally expect from sevens games.
Yeah,
but,
we definitely had we had teams with 2 or 3 rerolls, which is sort of unheard of for sevens.
Yeah. A rostered reroll plus a leader plus a mascot. It's just like, I don't understand. Like, my Norse team in 11s doesn't have this many rerolls.
Yeah, so that kind of changed the dynamic a little bit, didn't it? But you know what? I think, despite that, it worked out really well. I think the games of sevens were really tight, really close. So yeah, it was great. It was really interesting to see.
So we had a good mix of teams again for this one. We had no Slan, no Vampire, no Snotling, no Undead, no Halfling, no Goblin, no Dwarf. So I think you kind of Undead are pretty popular. Vampires are all right in sevens, so it was okay. But we had a good mix of the other teams. We had 1 Tomb King, 1 Chaos Dwarf, 1 Wood Elf, 1 Underworld, 1 Orc, 1 Ogre, 1 Nurgle, 1 Human, 1 Elven Lineman, 1 Renegades, 1 Chosen, 1 Black Orc, 2 each of Zons, Nobility, Khorne, OWA, Skaven, High Elves, and 3 Necromantic, 3 Lizardmen, 3 Dark Elves, and 4 New Norse for the event. So Norse again coming in super popular here. And I think Trips, you called out Khorne as well. We're going to be quite a popular one for this one, which I'm not surprised because they are fantastic. And we got to see a couple of Khorne games on the top table with Drew Creedy repping that Rage, which was really cool to see because I do love Khorne in sevens and it's good fun in 7 Super Series at the moment. So it's a good mix of teams. It was a bit bashier than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was very tier 1, tier 2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Only 1 wee lad of a team, which is really quite reasonable, I guess. Stunty for sevens is a challenge. Ogres are good fun. Snotlings get penalised heavily. Goblins, you kind of want to star, really. Halflings can do okay, but they're certainly not top tier. But yeah, we went into the day. We had a good mix of teams. And then, Ben, we unleashed you straight away as spare player. And then you had a fair few games of sevens. Do you remember who you played the first time round?
Yep, that was Whiskey Mancer, Julian Hood from Dice. Yeah, this was a tough game. This was a really tough game. Again, Julian's a very experienced coach who's really knows what he's doing, and he was running proper like control Doom King. He did not let me dodge anywhere, which was just awful. His positioning was incredible, so whatever I wanted to do was completely suboptimal. And I pretty much lucked my way to a 0-0 draw because on his final turn, 2+ rush into the end zone. Obviously, it's a 1. No rerolls and 7s. So, yeah, that happened, and I could detect just the pain because that was brutal. You hate to see it. However, it's something that you've got to. Essentially, he was in the position where I got a touchback. Pro tip: take kick as one of your skills in 7s. It stuck. Not having it. And yeah, and he got a touchback, put it on his block Doom Guardian, who just trudged up the pitch. However, didn't end up paying for that without that speed, having to rush. Happened. So
yeah, 2 Tomb Guardians, 1 with block, a blitzer with tackle, and a thrower with block on there as well, with another 6 dudes, so 10-man roster. I'm assuming he was getting the boot in when he could as well, Ben.
Absolutely, yeah. He was fouling as soon as he knocked down the blockers. They were being fouled relentlessly. So
Yeah.
I think he actually had 3 sent off. So, and I don't think he removed them, but he was definitely stunning them.
Oh man.
So yeah.
No,
It was quite noticeable in your games how your opponents did not like the fact that you had strength 4 pieces with dodge and decided that they were unfair on the pitch and had to be got.
Absolutely. They were tremendous foul bait. I say foul bait, it's more foul fodder because they do feed them.
I think,
and they
I
do
think they're
suffer.
going to be more hated than gutter runners.
I think so. Like gutter runners win the game directly, so you can kind of see why. Yeah, I feel like the hatred is more direct. Like, oh yeah, obviously there they go, scoring touchdowns again. But the Amazon blockers are slippery and really annoying. And normally you can get like 3 dice blocks on blodgers, and you fish for that power, but you just can't with them because it's strength 4. So
It's so
yeah.
good. We had a fantastic first match on the top table that day, which was Joe with his ogres and Andrew Burridge. We got to see him there. He was running stunty only lizards, so crocs, 2 chameleons, and a bunch of skinks. And bless him, like the dice rolls were carnage all over the place for both of them. It was so funny. Like they were making some solid plays, doing everything they could. It was just big guy blitz. It was just like every turn was bonehead blitz, bonehead blitz, bonehead blitz. So I was like in my element. It was just bonehead blitz and stunty dodges, mostly resulting in rolls of 1s and 2s, and it just being absolute mutually assured destruction on both sides. It was brilliant fun. They're both so lovely, and it was so cool. And we, definitely worth a watch as well if you like some 7s and like watching some coaches. But we had some really cool teams for 7s, and I haven't fixed the Saturday 11s on there as well.
Spoilers, they both walked away with a trophy as well.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did, and I'm not surprised. That was just so much fun. Round 2 had an absolute heck of a matchup on table 1, which was Drew Blood and Ben Davey. So Drew is just infamous in Blood Bowl land now for his commission painting, his conversions and stuff, but he can seriously play Blood Bowl as well, as can previous Bonehead Bowl winner Ben Davey, who was the 4th Ben on the show for an episode at the beginning of 2020. Yeah, that was an interesting challenge, wasn't it? So Ben, what do you think about this? Awkward silence as we're not sure who. Yeah. That Ben.
I think I had like 20 minutes of lag on that as well. It's very awkward.
Who was running Necromantic, and both these teams with that frenzy, with that just flexibility, it was such a good match on top table, and I definitely recommend watching that one as well. the teams look great. So, BT, who was your round 2?
My round 2 was
Ooh.
it was Imperial Nobility, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Best around the game.
Paul Lawrence. So Paul, an amazing guy. He's an ex-40k refugee, I'll say.
Survivor. Yeah.
Yeah, who has pretty much turned to Blood Bowl because he came to, I believe it was South Coast Summer, saw Blood Bowl, looked more fun than the 40k tournament he was playing in. So switched games. And I thought, yeah, that's fair. And so this was his first time playing Blood Bowl. So I asked him, just like, how long have you been playing? He said about 5 minutes. He did so well. So well. It was unfortunate from the get-go because he kicked me, got a blitz. It's like, great, this is fantastic. Went to blitz my one of my players with his nobility blitzers and just rolled a skull or double skull. And it was like, cool.
That'll do it.
Actually, I think it was a single skull into using mascot reroll into single skull as like the first roll, and that kind of set the tone of the game. But yeah, this was another game which I think was really highlighted the similarities between the New Amazons and Imperial Nobility.
You're set then.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, I love this. These are two teams I really like. So yeah, enjoyed the game. 2-0 win.
We had a cool roster as well. 2 blitzers, 1, 2, 3 linemen, 2 with block, an ogre with block, and a thrower. So a good mix.
It's pretty much all block. Yeah.
Block fends really everywhere. Horrible.
Really putting the bash on. Yeah. So I was very much the dodgy team on this. And then just my blocker taking what they can get, really. I didn't throw many. I think I put in a foul. I think when one of the blitzers went down, I think I fouled them. I do have a spare player, so why not?
And you even marked it on your sheet. Good lad.
Look at that. Remember things sometimes. It was a really speedy game as well. I think it was over in like 10 minutes or something.
See, this is the great thing about sevens, is that actually, and we saw this on stream as well, like the games were finishing about 30-35 minutes. I'm assuming this is the one that went long then, guys.
Yeah, this is the one that went on. Yeah. And had it in just like,
yeah.
No, we need data.
Yeah. All of our players, like 20-minute warning, 10-minute warning, fine. There was one game where the players went, well, I'm a TO, so we're going to keep on going.
We can bend the rules. Don't rush me in. I'm enjoying myself.
See this orange shirt?
Yeah.
That was cool. Then we went into round 3 after lunch, and the top table match for this one was really good fun. We had Baron with Norse. First of all, it was awesome to meet a load of these people over the weekend. This was so cool. Baron's always in the comments, so it was so good with a Norse roster. And Adam Wilcox with OWA, he was like, doing this for you guys. I was like, yeah, we're seeing OWA come out here. That was a heck of a match. That was some really good gutsy play absolutely everywhere. And then on table 5, Ben, you got to play the Resident Dwarf.
Warwick G, Graham Pickett, wonderful chap.
Oh, I think Graham.
Yeah, this is the first game I've had against him, and he was like one of the first games he didn't bring dwarves against an Amazon team. I'm just like, I'm sorry, Graham. You're going to wish you had these now. He was running OWA, which is interesting. He was basically, I think he took...
Got it here. Ogre with block. Yeah. Lineman, 1 with block. Dwarf blitzer. Dwarf runner with block. And human blitzer. There. So good mix. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 block pieces. 5 block pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, so it did put on the pain quite a bit. The Ogre rolled a lot of Bonehead, which did massively help me in 7s when one of your 7 players is just gone. That's pretty brutal. And it does clear up lanes. So yeah, Amazon's very, very glad they weren't up against Dwarves here, because I was making a lot of dodges that I had to re-roll. So yeah, if he had tackle, that would have been really bad news. yeah, ended up being a 2-0 win. And yeah, now Graham refers to me as Mr. Five because I think it's 75% of my dice are a 5. Just oh, that's a 5. It's a 5. Oh, cool.
Graham has it's just he's such a good lad. But he's painted up the first non-bonehead miniature for the stadium as well. So he's got
brilliant.
The dwarf rider, basically one of the Fanath dwarfs. One of my favorite dwarf teams. He painted him up to be him as well with his logo and everything. It's just so cool.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to putting that in the stadium over the next kind of like month as we get brewing with that. And that took us to the final round of the day. And top table, we had Drew Blood return and Baron return for just some awesome action. And we had HD's pitch on there as well. I was absolutely gushing over this round. 2 beautiful teams. The cameras did a great job zooming in and seeing all the details, and with the pitch it just looked surreal. I was like, I've peaked. This is my hobby goals. Absolutely ticked off. That was great. And then all the way down on table 2, Ben, was you.
This is a bit tense.
The Battle of the Bens.
Yeah, it's what do you do? What do you do if you end up like I went into this being like, I'm going to win this and I'm just going to solve that problem later, or if this goes really well. It's always a little bit awkward. But I went up against Ben. He was on a fouling mission. He was explaining to me the, I think, 48 fouls that he had got so far. And
almost, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was good. I really like Ben. We played against each other in the league and stuff as well. Really makes you work. Really, really does make you work. I was kind of really putting pain on his werewolves. He was running 2 werewolves in the necromantic roster. They were just scary as hell. So I was just trying to keep them at bay because I figured as long as they're down, his scoring potential is massively reduced. Basically got zombies and guys with no hands. So I was just ignoring the blitzers. They were fine. But yeah, it was the werewolves I was targeting. I think I fouled one which absolutely insulted him. I don't think he's going to speak to me ever again.
He came and complained. He did come and complain, which I thought was hilarious because by this point...
he logged a complaint with the TOs. He was like, the Amazon coach is failing. It's like, have you seen how many fouls? Because I think by that stage he probably had more fouls than most of the other players in the whole day put together.
Combined, yeah.
With the exception of Julian, who did manage to get 13 fouls as well with that. I imagine most of those were against you as well, Ben. New Amazons are just very foulable.
They are very foulable. This game, I believe, it failed the 2+ rush or 2+ dodge to score a winning touchdown, I think.
Yeah.
I remember being very close.
Yeah,
right at the end. So, yeah, ended up being a 1-1 draw. So,
oh my God, Ben, that would have put you in second place if you'd swung that.
I think it's 2+.
Mate, top 8 though. Top 8's fantastic.
I love 7s. Amazons are pretty good at it.
Oh, so. Strength 4 blodgers. Well, 1 blodger. The other one
was
1
blodger. I think taking 2 is the way to go. I didn't want
to. Leader is your 1 of 2 skills instead of just double blocking.
I think every time I used it was to reroll a skull or both down on the blodgers on the blocker.
Fair enough. So that brought us to the end of the day, and Adam Wilcox did take the trophy with OWA in 7s, which I know will please Stevie, who'd pegged OWA as a sneaky high performer in 7s, and he's bang on the money. And Korn in second place with Drew. Korn, dominant in 7s. Necro with Dalio. Dalio definitely knows how to play some good Blood Bowl. Norse there from Carl in 4th. Barney with Dark Elves. Ben David with Necro. Baron with Norse. Blood Type with Amazons. Cerberus with Skaven. And Graham, the Resident Dwarf, with OWA. So 2 OWA teams in the top 10. Just brilliant. Like, just so good to see. It's nice to see OWA. You look at the roster and you don't think OWA are a great 7s team. But that Troll Slayer Ogre combo, and we saw this on stream, especially because you can take a desperate measure, which in sevens might just swing you a strength 4 Troll Slayer, which again we may have seen on stream, and that is potent, let me tell you. So good. We had this strength 4 Troll Slayer going up against an Ulfweron on Norse, and it was just like frenzy carnage. By the end of the day, because of the way the stream was set up, like the one side of the pitch was at the bottom by the score, and the players just kept getting sucked into and off the pitch at that bit, and it just was literally like a 2p machine. Like it was just like, and they're off, and they're off, and they're off, and it was all down the one point on the screen. It was hilarious. And with all these frenzy teams with Ulfweroners and blooming Yetis and Slayers and werewolves, like just cruising around, frenzying everybody off. It was amazing. There's some great Blood Bowl. I love sevens, and watching these fast games was just so good. It was the best. I'm not gonna lie, it was so good. So other prizes, other winners on the day. Thank you, Milton, for putting that in there. So Adam took it. Joe with the Ogres took the Stunty. Best team, Hayden Dean there. And best mascot was Graham. I loved his little diorama there. That was so good. Participation, like you guys said, Andrew Burridge with the all Stunty Lizards, which I loved as a roster because that's high variance. That's either going to be a 3-4-0 win or just death, and sadly the dice mostly chose death. And you know, I was so good though. I love the idea. I had a couple of like comedians with catch. He was like, my whole goal here is to OTB under the ball, catch it, and start off with it, and then go for a throw touchdown. Which I think cost him the lives of many chameleon skinks, but it was such a cool plan. I loved it. Most casualty, Drew, which made sense with that Norse, with that corn build, with the corn gore, two big boys and one even bigger boy, which was cool. Barney with most touchdowns. Dirty player Ben Davey, which made a lot of sense. Only 2 fouls against him, and one of them was from you, Ben. So nicely done. And Luke took the overall weekend champion there, with total points over the course of the 2 days. But I mean, guys, how was Sunday for you?
So I think for me, the highlight of Sunday was after round 2. I think we only had 3 undefeated coaches, and we get a lot of draws in sevens because of the nature of the game, but it was really tight. I mean, we've got a coach who finished in the top 10 with 3 draws. It shows how consistency is really important in sevens. And yeah, there were a lot of tight games, lots of trying to score at the end of the game to level it up, and it was great to see it, and really good fun.
Yeah, it was that moment where top table for round 2 ended in a result. And then going into round 3, the rest of the top tables ended up in the same result, so it balanced out. So we got to see like the round 2 guys rocket and stay there at the top. It was so good. But no, I mean, they were both brilliant days, and it was so cool to see everybody and see all the teams and see all the games, and that's my favorite tournament so far. Like Dorset Dungeon Bowl was amazing, but I think this one has been my favorite of all the ones we've done, only by a little bit, but it was pretty amazing, guys. So a massively well done, guys. So good. Anything that we want to talk about from a tournament point of view, kind of when it came to this one? Any massive like watch outs or things we need to do a little bit differently, ready for next time?
I think we've talked about the timings of the rounds for the sevens. I think that needs a bit of a.
That's basically a typo by me, because it was like, we can push that back, but at the same time it was a case of we can push that forward, which did both at the same time without checking. So it was round 1 10:30, round 2 11:30. What it should have been is round 1 at 10 or round 2 at 11:30.
Yeah, I think Trips turned to me at like 10:30, and he was like, There's no time between round 1 and round 2.
Yeah. There was a minor panic.
No, there's not.
There's that extra bit of flexibility in sevens, though, isn't there? So you kind of you kind of get away with it a bit. Thank goodness. I feel like the round times on Saturday worked really well.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
I think it's really good. And a little bit of a tweaking for the timing on Sundays was good. I mean, I know that we could fit in 5 games of 7s, but I really do feel like 4 is right for the kind of vibe we go for.
Yeah, no, definitely. And having played 4 games of 7, like I know they're shorter. I know it's only an hour long, but sometimes the intensity of your play over the course of 4 can feel just as much as 3 11s.
I probably could have put another one in there.
Oh yeah, could you?
Yeah, I reckon. At the end, I had enough energy. I could have gone on for another one.
I think you could have probably gone on for another one on your second game, right?
But it got to streaming on the Sunday, and Tiff was like, "Oh, you know how many games you got today?" And I was like, "Well, it was 3 long games yesterday. Now it's 4 short games." I was like, "So it's way less, and actually the playing time is way less." But I think 4 games is plenty enough to be able to find a winner, even with a tight pack, which is great. And even if it does leave you feeling like, I could have probably fit one more game in, I think that's probably better at the end of a tournament than, oh my God, I am exhausted. Because I don't know if we've done a 5-rounder before, or whether we just did the 4. We did 4, didn't we?
We did 4, and we've got a lot of coaches that had a fair old travel as well, and stayed up for the weekend. So I think it's fair to let people off at 4 and actually get home and suitably get home early enough that you're allowed another weekend pass in the future for a Blood Bowl tournament.
I did.
I think if we did like a 2-day 7s, I think 5 on a Saturday would be all right because you have the evening.
Yeah.
But on the Sunday, that's asking a bit because you've got to get back and work.
Yeah. Plus, it gave us half an hour to pack a tent up into a tiny little bag and unplug the 75,000 cables we had.
That tent was a doddle to pack up because it was a cool pop-up tent. It was just like, and pull, and it just cascaded out. The cables, though,
is a word. Yes.
I thought it was cool. Hey, the pop-up mechanic of it was very cool. I am incredibly lazy, and all I did to put it up was just pull it out and open it. I was like, all right, this is good. That tent is going to come in handy. I don't know when, and I don't know why, but it is going to be a plot point for some other point in my life. It is going to come in incredibly handy. I don't know why, but I know that it is.
Find out.
Yeah. Don't know why. Don't know when, but at some point someone's going to be like, "Oh, I need to do a thing," and I'm going to be like, "I've got this."
Got the streaming.
Well, I only bought it because it was cheaper than getting one of those things to put the green screen up.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because they're like £50-60 for like a frame, so you can put a green screen. I was like, I just use the gazebo frame for that. I was like, pop up one for 50 quid, that'll do. Even if I don't need the lid or anything, and just clip the frame on. I was like, there you go. So there you go. It's just a cheaper green screen frame that comes with way too many sides. Guaranteed, it's going to come in handy. But no, that was really cool. Streaming was really cool. Like the internet was great, which I was not expecting. I was expecting absolute carnage from that. That was really cool to see. The teams were brilliant. I'm just really excited for Bonehead Bowl now.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Me too.
50
teams can make interesting.
Mixed teams and Dungeon Bowl teams in there as well.
Which reminds me, get your rosters in.
Yeah, it's roster time. We got 4 weeks.
Yeah, we've had 3 rosters in already.
Ooh, that's very exciting. Okay, well, in which case, guys, I think we could wrap up, but I'm going to put you all on the spot here now. Guesses, predictions for Bonehead Bowl. I don't know how you even predict this.
Yeah.
I want an over-under of Dungeon Bowl teams. So if we got 50 people coming, I think we will have 10 Dungeon Bowl teams.
I think we'll have slightly less, but I think we might see a lot of heavens, partly because pretty much anything you've got in your hobby does fit into a heavens.
Yeah.
You're
only playing D&D?
Yeah.
Got news for you. You've got Demogorgons in heavens now.
Yeah. Anything, any team you've got.
I don't know. I think, do you know what? I think less, considerably less. I'm going to say possibly 5 or maybe less than that in terms of Dungeon Bowl teams. I think the mixed teams are fun. From the conversations I've had, I think there's some kind of crazy.
There's some great builds coming.
I'll say what I think. That's what I said to Wayne. I was like, I'm waiting for someone to crack the formula.
I don't think
someone
you
to
can.
find that
too,
pair that just something really juicy.
It's too
Did on
chaotic.
the first one, it's the troll.
All troll builds.
All troll builds.
We've got a couple of
I might
teams coming down from the Midlands as well for this, like actual like teams of people, which is so cool.
That is good.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. Okay, then mixed teams over under. We've got 50 places. I think, all right, I reckon maybe 10-ish people are going to go Dungeon Bowl teams. We'll have 10-ish people running vanilla teams. So I think over under 25 mixed teams at 50. What do we reckon?
Oh, I think over.
Over.
I think over that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I would hazard at least 35 to 40.
Yeah, I think the fact so many people signed up so quickly, and it is if you want to do some weird combination, and there are so many, and it was fun speaking to people over the weekend where they were like, "Can you really put this team in this team?" Yes, you can.
Yes.
You can see them go, "Ooh."
Everybody, like, I must have spoken to maybe 4 people who were like, "Do you know what I've been thinking? I've been thinking about Undead and Khemri." I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I've been there. I've built it. It's in my shed, and it is awesome. 6 strength 5 pieces, no nega traits, no agility, but it's so good.
Who cares when you're dead?
Yeah. This is this Bonehead Bowl is going to be absolute carnage. It is just like, it's like power level 15. Like, it's so good. It's just like unrestricted legacy Magic the Gathering. I think it's brilliant. All right, and
I think I might. That's what I was going to say. I think I might do Troll round 2 and Odd Man in this one.
Ooh.
Eventually, because now we've got Snotlings, you can have an extra one.
Goblin Troll, Snotling Troll.
Oh, because it's still a Ripper, yeah, is there?
There's no Ripper. There's no Ripper.
No Ripper.
Anyway, I think Milton's already started building his Odd Man in team.
Oh, yeah, true. Are you Odd Manning this one, Milton?
No, I think we should let Trips do it.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think Trips was brewing up some ideas over the weekend.
I did.
So,
That's interesting.
Partly brew a roster.
What can you get with Griff?
You're right there, Ben. I was mulling over the nothing less than strength 4 roster.
Yeah.
So
What was it? 10 Black
it's
Orcs?
Orc and Black Orc. So it's 6 brawlers, 4 big uns, and a troll.
And I think you could afford Bomber in there as well.
No, I squeezed Acorn in because that seemed more funny.
He's kind of strength 4 when you're on
He is
Dauntless.
kind of strength 4, right?
Yeah. That's just filthy. We're gonna have some really cool teams. I think we're gonna have some cheeky elf dwarf combos. I know Rick ran that in the first Bonehead Bowl. I think
yeah,
was
he did.
Wood Elves and Dwarfs. And that was the game that went to like 4-3 shootout. It was madness. That was cool to see. I don't know. There's just so many good combos. Maybe like a Chaos Corn mix would be great. 4 blockers, 4 seekers, and a Minotaur.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice.
I mean, what's the most big guys you could get with like a... There is no star player troll, is there? So you can't really do that.
You could do like
Ogres?
Hackflam is kind of
Yeah.
a troll.
That'll do it.
Not the same.
No. The players that use him are. And I put myself in that because Hackflem is mighty. Yeah, I don't know. There's going to be some great combos.
Yeah.
Some really great combos for this one.
There already is.
Slan and Lizards, just chucking a couple of catches in there on a Lizardman team. That would be... Yeah,
The double crocs.
Yeah, double crocs with a bit of pogo in there. That could be quite fun. Oh, too many teams, too little time.
Oh
Absolutely.
no, you could do triple crocs, couldn't you? Because we've got what's he called?
Glottal
I want to say
Sark?
he's not. That's the one, not Anky Panky.
Was Anky Panky the old one? Or was he?
No.
Oh god,
I think it was a Saurus.
Slibley, it was.
Slibley was the Guardsaurus.
Oh, was he? Oh, I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Maybe it was Anky Panky actually.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, I think we should probably call it there, guys, because I think we've all got some rosters to brew up. And yeah, like Milton said, get your Bonehead Bowl rosters in soon. The builder is live on the website. So just go to our website and go to the Bonehead bit, and there is a Bonehead Bowl roster builder that has got all the bits you need for mixed teams. We've got every star player in there. You've got all the rosters. You just pick 2 rosters. Pay attention to the alignments. This is a tournament where you do actually need to read the rule pack and not just go by the spreadsheet. So yeah, it's quite simple though. You pick 2 teams. Oh, there you go, Necromantic. Oh, Necromantic and Tomb King. What was I doing? Tomb Guardians with some werewolves. That's quite fun. It will calculate your tier as well. So if you only choose one team, it will double up your power. You've got all the rosters in there, so you can go for a College of Fire, but then you just kind of want to go ogres and dwarves for that one. That could be quite fun. College of Beasts might be horrifically fun, actually. In 11s, what can you take? Bloodspawn ×3. That could be quite good. A couple of werewolves in there as well.
Bloodspawn ×3. I'd actually casually adding that.
Couple of
that seems fine.
This is what Bonehead Bowl's about. This seems very fine. Oh, there you go. No rerolls. 3 Bloodspawns, 2 werewolves, and a whole bunch of Beastman linemen. I tell you what, let's take the werewolves out.
With the horns. Amazing.
Oh, 3 rerolls.
Doesn't matter. They're going to just be feeding the Bloodspawns so they can move.
Okay, 3 Bloodspawns, 8 Beastmen, 2 rerolls, 1080. You even got... You can even afford to like upgrade one to a Corn Gore. There you go. Take 2 Corn Gores. 1100, bang on. And it is a Dungeon Bowl team, so you get 4 primary skills. Easy. Anyway, tons of stuff you can do, and it's really good fun to brew up some dream teams. But for now, Ian, thank you for doing an awesome job TOing. Milton, thank you for doing an awesome job prepping rosters and TOing as well. Ben, thank you for doing an awesome job making people hate Amazons. And yeah, amazing stuff, guys. We're going to wrap up now. Just keep playing Blood Bowl. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking.